You may not believe this, but for most of my life, I've been known by my friends and family as somebody who has a, a short fuse, quick to throw a temper tantrum. Several years ago, Kimberly got me thinking because everything that I am that is good comes from my relationship, from my snuggly bear, my sweetie pie, my one and only. She got me, she set an example for me to follow. I used to get really angry in traffic when people were just driving and they weren't being considerate of people around them. And she would start to extend a little extra grace. She'd say stuff like, oh, they must be in a hurry, or that text must be important, or something, that kind of thing. She set an example for me, and it really started to temper me. And now I'm pretty much known as a pretty chill guy. I don't lose my temper very often anymore. But today I've been really angry. I've been really angry because of these two little ones right here, Amor Wilson and Mila Chatman. These are two little ones whose deceased bodies were summarily stuffed into suitcases and buried in a park in a shallow grave. And boy, has it gotten under my skin. I am just angry about this. And I'm trying to find the place or the thing that is going to make me feel like better, right? Oftentimes our quest for justice can help us feel better. I don't know that this one reminds me so much in different ways, of course, but it reminds me of how I felt with Maddie Soto, just how offended I felt on behalf of humanity that a grown man would treat a child like that. And I'm just angry. I'm just angry about it. We're going to dig into it a little bit tonight. We're going to get to know this case a little bit, you and I. Hopefully, I mean, there has to be something that, I just don't know. I just don't know, guys. I just don't know. I'm just mad at this one. I'm just really angry. But stick with me. A lot of other stuff happened in the world of true crime today. A lot of reporting, including the defense resting without calling a single witness in the Cory Richens case. So when we get into headlines, we're going to talk about that. Lots to talk about today. Stay with me. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. When you investigate crime, you learn something important. Every strand tells a story. Some stories fall apart under pressure, but great hair holds up under questioning. That's why I trust Lullaby. Because great hair never pleads the fifth. Lullaby, when the evidence is in your favor. That's actually a little hilarious because I didn't know that I'd forgotten that was queued up. Oh, that is funny. I got to get that out of there so it doesn't queue up tomorrow. I completely forgot that I had that queued up, and I am smiling a little bit more. Oh my goodness, that was fun to make. Our spoof sponsor there, Lullaby. You can get the best hair in the world. It's salon formulated, courtroom tested, something like that. I can't remember. Feel a little bit better. Hello there, my friend, and welcome back to another true crime conversation with me, Gavin Fish. Hey, listen, if you think if that was just like cognitively dissonant for you, I don't blame you. I take victims and their families and crime very, very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously, and we shouldn't take each other seriously, right? We should have fun in this life. We don't want to be angry all the time. So it's good to have something like that to blow off some steam. Speaking of things that that we might be able to use to blow off some steam, I've been wanting some transition music. Every once in a while, there's just a there's just content where we just need to we need something to we need the proverbial saltine cracker between taste testing, right? Clear the palate. So I asked Wanda, for those of you who don't know, my staff consists of Javier, who is our button pusher and toggle switcher and knob turner. He is our producer that keeps the show running. And we have Wanda, who she works in our sound booth giving us good music. Wanda is the one who is responsible, for example, if I'm going to be sentimental and talk about my past, she will give us some of that sentimental music. For example, Wanda, can you give us maybe a little bit of harp? She can play anything. Can you give us a little harp? Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful, Wanda. Wanda. Oh, she's so good. But she has been busy composing some transition music. Some of it, and you'll be surprised at this woman's talent. She is amazing. Hey, Wanda, can we hear maybe a little sample of what transition music might be in the future? Oh, she's getting the steel drums, everybody. She's getting the steel drums out. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. So that's enough, Wanda. Thank you. So whenever we need that transition, I think Wanda's got some. She's got her sheet music out. She like licks her finger and turns the pages to what she wants to play. And we're gonna get some transition music. Do you have anything that's jazzy, Wanda? Something that's kind of upbeat and jazzy? Yeah, play that. Yeah, cool. Very cool. Yeah, I don't know how you do those drums. Is that with your feet? Yeah, it's like she has 6 arms back there. She just does really good work. Hey, thank you for joining me tonight. If you'd like to cut past all the fluff and sensationalism and true crime, I do too. You have found the right spot, and I am glad you did. Thank you for joining, and tell me in the live chat and in the comments where you're joining me from. I just love to know that kind of stuff. Tonight we are talking about the case of Aliyah Henderson. Really, we're not talking about the case of we're talking about the case of Amor Wilson and Mila Chatman. Their mother, who is pictured there on the left holding one of the little girls with a big smile on her face, is Aliyah Henderson. She has been arrested for the murder of her daughters. And we're going to get into that. Again, be sure to tell me where you're tuning in from. I want to check in with you guys. But before we do, why don't we do just a little bit of map time so that we know where we are in the world. We're going to channel our inner Gisela. And you can see that little, what do we call that, pin there up in the upper, northeast side of the state of Ohio. That is Cleveland. Cleveland sits right on Lake Erie, and where the girls were found is this little place called Saranac Playground, which, if we kind of back up a little bit, is kind of, it's along the railroad tracks. Now, I don't know Cleveland very well. I go out there from time to time, spent a little time in Shaker Heights, but I really don't know Cleveland all that well. I know along the lake, of course, are going to be really nice homes, really beautiful businesses. Looks like we've got a yacht club up there. So I don't know this area. It does look to me like, I mean, we're along the tracks. So is this a nice area? I don't know. We can kind of look around. This is the playground. It looks just like a little northeastern neighborhood. I mean, it looks like a nice enough place. This is a pretty typical kind of architecture that you find in the Northeast in Cleveland. They're smaller homes. You'll notice that like paint is chipping and stuff like that. It's because we live in a pretty hard on our structures and on our cars climate. Cleveland, for you guys who don't know, it's about 2.5 hours away from me. So this neighborhood to me just looks like a regular old, pretty nice neighborhood, actually. And so it's not like we're on the literal wrong side of the tracks here. I would love, if you are tuning in from Cleveland, let me know what the neighborhood is like. But this playground is where the girls' bodies were found. Okay, so that's enough not nap time. That's enough map time. Maybe there should be some map time for Gavin. Let's get into the stories of the day. This started to be reported on March 5th, and there's been some breaking news in this over the last couple of days, but let's just get into this. This from WKYC, written by Ryan Haydet. Headline says, mother charged with aggravated murder after bodies of 2 young girls found in suitcases and victims were identified. Dateline Cleveland. A 28-year-old woman has been arrested by Cleveland police and charged with murder just days after the bodies of 2 young girls were found in suitcases in the area of East 162nd Street and Midland Avenue. I was going to open this up. Let's mute that. So it looks like I'm looking for the date that this was
tonight,
was found.
A gruesome discovery on Cleveland's.
Yeah, so it looks like on March 3rd or March 2nd is when the girls' bodies were found. I'm sure this is in the story. You can get into it here, Gavin. Here we go. According to an update from the Cleveland Division of Police on Thursday afternoon, the suspect has been identified as Aliyah Henderson, the mother of both victims. She has been charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder. Also on Thursday afternoon, the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office identified the 2 victims, who are half-siblings, following DNA relationship testing. Amor Wilson, 10, of Cleveland, and Mila Chatman, 8, also of Cleveland. Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb released the following statement on Thursday. Quote, I want to thank our homicide detectives and members of the Division of Police for their incredible work in this case. Their dedication and persistence led to a quick arrest in connection with the tragic deaths of 2 young children whose bodies were discovered earlier this week. Continuing the quote, this has shocked our community. We love and protect our young people, and the loss of 2 children is unimaginable. Our hearts are with everyone who is grieving this tragedy. In addition, that's close quote. In addition, the Cuyahoga County spokesperson, or a Cuyahoga County spokesperson, gave the below statement to 3 News Thursday afternoon. Quote, we are profoundly saddened by the deaths of these 2 young girls, which is a tragedy for their families and our entire community. Due to the active criminal investigation into these deaths, as well as the confidentiality obligation of Ohio law, we are unable to disclose any further information at this time. Okay, so here are the case details. Actually, that's a pretty good primer. Let's just check in with you guys. This case is going to make me so angry. I'm going to have to take a moment here every once in a while. What is it? Hello, it's Britt. Hey, Britt from Southwest PA. We've got Alexandra from the UK checking in. Delaware is in the house. Let's see, what else have we got? Isolated Atlantic Haven, Bermuda is in the house. Barb is wondering how I managed to keep my glasses dry while in the shower, asking for a friend. You guys don't wear your glasses in the shower? Oh, that's funny. Robin says, you've plumb lost your mind, and I think we like it. I think I've come up, by the way, the reason I made that commercial was as a kind of an incentive for super chats. Right now, YouTube's being pretty stingy on their revenue for their ads. So, you know, I'm depending on support from you guys, which I deeply appreciate. And I thought, well, you know, if we can make a goal on super chats, I'll make this commercial, and I did. I've got a new idea. I've got a new idea. I don't want to overdo it, right? Don't want to overdo it, but I've got a new idea that will be coming. We got Montana in the house. New Hampshire is here. Central Ohio is here. Illinois, Southeast Pennsylvania, Excelsior Springs, home of the famous Elms Hotel. Northwest Georgia is in the house. Aunt Tiss is from Utah in the house. Cleveland is here. Dream Z, glad that you are here. Barb says, my city is known for hosting the greatest outdoor show on earth. Where am I? Barb, I don't know. You're one Google away. The answer is one Google away, though. Let's see. Where else have we got? Yeah, Autumn. Why? Why? This Emmy says, this is cruel and vile. How long were these girls missing and no one knew? Just Ducky says, I think she had another child sick still alive with her at the house. That is the reporting that I have read too. Burn Dog, so many children being murdered by their mothers. Yeah. Dreamsy says, Collingwood area of Cleveland and it is not a nice part of our city. So it is actually on the wrong side of the tracks, I guess, right? Thank you for letting me know that. I appreciate that. Oregon is here. Marion is here. Central Kentucky, New Jersey. Thank you guys. And Beth Pepper says, makes me sick, right? Makes me sick. And it does. Our Tar Heel friend, our North Carolina Tar Heel friend says, this is just evil. And it is. And I'm trying to find a way. Is this mental illness? I'm trying to find a way to not be angry, to let it go, but I'm just not able to right now. Jules and me, thank you very much, Jules and me, for the super chat. Really appreciate that. She says, or he says, they say, I appreciate your hard work and thanks to all the mods and chat. Yep, our mods keep this channel classy, man. It's the classiest live chat on all of YouTube. Before we get back into the case, let me just do a quick plug for the old mods. They do it. They are volunteers. Autumn leads them. If you scroll down to the bottom, if you go to my website and click on support me, there's a link to my website down below. These are all the ways to financially support me. And thank you so much to so many of you who have become patrons over the last week or so. Thank you. But if you scroll down to the bottom, you can buy my mod Autumn a coffee, and that is a way that you can support her. She does so much for the channel. Okie dokie, let's go back into the story. And thanks again, Jules and me, for that super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Okay, here are the case details. The situation started around 6 p.m. Monday. Let's be clear. That would be Monday the 2nd of March, when officers with the 5th District responded to the scene after receiving a report of a suspected dead body. By the way, there's body-worn camera footage on this. There's an interview with one of the fathers. I just can't bring myself to watch it, so we're going to read. After officers found the body of a young girl inside a suitcase, detectives found a second body of another young girl inside a separate suitcase. Quote, both victims were transported to the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office, where examinations are underway to determine the cause and manner of death, according to the Cleveland Division of Police. This was reported back on the 5th. In new details released late Wednesday morning, the medical examiner's office announced that DNA testing revealed the girls are half siblings. During a press conference Tuesday afternoon, that would be the 3rd, Cleveland Division of Police Chief Dorothy Todd. I like Dorothy Todd. She's got a style. Remember, this is the same city that the Tepe murders took place in. I thought she did a terrific job. Her entire police force did a terrific job in using the media, using us to eventually find who murdered the Tepes, or allegedly, and make those charges. And they have one of the best solved cases in the nation. They are terrific. So, Chief Todd said there were no clear indicators of the cause of death of the two young girls. She also said it's unknown how long they had been in the location. Quote, "These were two young lives with their entire futures ahead of them. Our detectives worked tirelessly and with great care to identify those responsible. Investigations of this nature require patience, precision, and discretion. Unlike what is often portrayed on television, every detail cannot be shared publicly. Certain information must remain confidential to protect the integrity of the investigation and ensure justice for the..." Okay, so she's like, this is going to happen. It was first announced Wednesday that police had detained a person of interest in the case. Let's see, the police said, using intelligence-led policing strategies, technology, and experienced investigative skills, detectives developed probable cause to execute a search warrant at a residence on the 700 block of East 162nd Street. Now, let's real quick go back to the map, and let's just take a look. I'm going to put in directions to say like 700 East 162nd Street, right? It's that block. Oh goodness. Okay, so let me zoom in and share this with you guys. It is like 120 feet away. So there's a house somewhere on this block. I haven't looked up exactly which house it is. But yeah, the 700 block is kitty corner. Do you say kitty corner or catty corner? It depends on where you're from. I say kitty corner, but 100 feet away from this playground is where they're saying the search warrant or the search took place. According to, let's see, within less than 48 hours, detectives detained a person of interest and recovered substantial evidence related to the case. Police said a child was found inside the home and appeared to be in good health. The Department of Children and Family Services has taken custody of the child. On Thursday, body camera footage of the discovery was released. In the video, the man who called police told the officer, "It's a suitcase. I've been walking past it for about a week now. I walk my dog over there and she keeps stopping. She's been sniffing a little too long." He told the officer he decided to open the suitcase. "I pulled it up, unzipped it. I couldn't really see, and I opened it up and a head, blinking head," said the man. The community reaction was 3 News also talked to Mila Chatman, who said he's the father. I can, this is Mr. Chatman here. I've got another article I want to read about him. Okay, let's move on to this one. This one written by Courtney Shaw, Drew Schofield, Sarah Budison, John Kosick, and Scott Knoll for News 5 Cleveland. Heartbroken man believes he is the father of one of the girls killed in Collingwood, and this is March 5th. So they probably had identified her by then. Dateline Cleveland. Cleveland police announced that a 28-year-old blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we know all about this. According to Cleveland.com, the plain dealer, Henderson, is the mother of both children. The photo was taken several years ago, and the paper did a story about ongoing health care coverage in Cleveland. So these little girls obviously had grown up quite a bit since this picture was taken. But it's the picture that most of us are using in the media. Police said detectives, blah, blah, yeah, here we go. Okay, man says he's the father. In the cold rain on Thursday, Mila Chatman, who identified himself as the father of Mila Chatman, visited the site where the bodies were found and spoke with News 5's John Kosick. Kosic, I'm not sure. Chatman said he had not had contact with his daughter for several years, but was working to gain custody. He said after hearing his daughter may have been killed, He called the tip line and made contact with a homicide detective. Quote, "What I'm feeling is hate," Chatman told Kosick about the loss of the 2 young girls. I have mixed feelings about this. Well, we don't know the background. We don't know why the father was out of the picture. This is just going to be a moment where I'm going to have to withhold my judgment because I'm angry right now. I'm going to have to withhold my judgment, and I'm sure more will come out. It just really bothers me when children are fatherless. And I understand that there are myriad reasons for that to happen. I just think that every child deserves to have both a father and a mother. I think this might be unpopular with some of you. I just think that it's the best way to raise a child. And anyway. Neighbor weighs in. News 5 investigator Scott Knoll spoke to Chatman and neighbor Deshae Kreider on Thursday, who shared a duplex with Henderson and the children. Both said they called Cuyahoga County's Division of Child and Family Services with concerns about Henderson. Kreider said she had moved into the duplex on East 162nd Street at the same time Henderson did. The neighbor, who has 5 children of her own, said she hadn't seen Henderson's children in more than a year. She never let her kids come outside to play, said Kreider. None of the kids engaged with those kids. Oh, that's so sad. Kreider said she called Protective Services after she became concerned about erratic behavior by Henderson. She was acting out, said Kreider. When asked if she had concerns about her neighbor's mental health, Kreider said yes, 100%. In a statement, the Cuyahoga County spokesperson wrote, "Due to the active criminal investigation into these deaths, as well as the confidentiality obligation of Ohio law, we are unable to disclose any further information at this time." So we have a father of one of the children who hasn't seen the daughter in years. We have neighbors saying, "I am concerned about mental health," also saying, "I haven't seen the children in more than a year," also saying, the kids in the neighborhood never play with those kids, never even see those kids. Oh my goodness. This is just, yeah, it just kills me. Let's take a break. You know what? Now might be a good time to use a little bit of that transition music. Let me just clear the screen here a little bit, and let's have some transition music just for a moment. Taking deep breaths. Wanda, this kind of reminds me of the soundtrack of Elf. Yeah. Okay. It's nice. I don't even know how you do this. It's so good. While we just kind of cleanse the palate, let's go over to your comments. Yeah, that's good, Wanda. Thank you. Okay. That helped me out a lot. Lynn Taylor says, "There's so much help out there if needed. It is hard not to be angry when this happens to children especially." There is. You're right. There is so much help. So many good people working both in the public sector and private sectors to be out there helping. Please, 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 if you are watching this and you are having difficulty right now with your mental health, with your emotional health, with your temper, please, there's help that's available near you. And there are people that love you and love your children. Please ask them for help. There's no shame in it. People will be proud of you for that, man. Let's see. Beth Geib giving a channel membership. Thank you for doing that. And that reminds me, I have 5 more memberships that I can give away this month. Bang. Let's do it. Here we go. Thank you, Beth, for your example. That was awesome. Appreciate that. Let's see. Robin says kitty corner. Jenny says kitty corner. Fourth Opinion says catty corner. So does Beth Peppers. So does Hoosier Steph. And Robin says cattywampus. No, a little bit different. A little bit different. Jenny says mixed feelings here too. Beth Pepper says the father had been searching for them for a couple of years. I hope that is the case. I really do. Robin says, I agree the child needs two parents. Caveat being that said second parent is not abusive physically, emotionally. Exactly. We are dealing with this issue right now, and it's a sad truth for our little. I'm sorry for that. But you're right. Yeah. So I should expand what I'm saying. Every child should be reared by two loving parents. Loving, caring, protecting, loving of each other. Yeah, I completely agree. And this is, great comment. The daddy of one of the girls wanted his child. Yeah, he wanted her. Hoo. You are welcome for the membership. I know that, I don't get to choose who gets the memberships, but thank you for accepting it. Arctic Cat says, Gavin, thank you for covering this precious little ones and not allowing them to fade away or be forgotten. Yeah, it's my pleasure. This is a hard one. Nikki says, unfortunately, a lot of us didn't grow up in a healthy, loving family environment. Therefore, poor, destructive decisions are made and passed from one generation to the next. It's so very sad. Nikki, thank you very much for that comment. And that is you are being my Kimberly right now, right? You're right. You're right. So many. And I think it's maybe even the minority of people that grow up in solid homes where their parents love each other and the children and care for them. And you're right. It is a generational problem. And it does not excuse the behavior, right? We have to hold people like this accountable. There has to be accountability for sure, but we do have to understand why. And I know that there are so many that work diligently, not only to understand why, but to change that in families and neighborhoods and communities, all the way up in the world, right? So thank you, Nikki, for a terrific comment. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's get back into it. There's more here. Moving forward in time, this is another one. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to bring you guys over to this. This from Fox 8, also on March 5th, written by Tino Bovenzi and Laura Morrison, Dateline Cleveland. Father of Mila Chatman speaks out. Fox 8 is hearing from the father of one of two young girls killed and buried in shallow graves in Collinwood, discovered Monday night. Quote, I just feel useless. I couldn't save my daughter, the man told Fox 8's Tino Bovenzi. He spoke on condition of anonymity, and we know who he is because, he gave his identity later. Shared photos and videos with Fox 8 of his daughter Mila, an adorable child with a bright smile. The man spoke after dropping flowers at a growing memorial near the site where the two girls were buried in separate suitcases. He wants the public to know he believes his daughter's mother kept Mila from him for years. Quote, when it was something so simple, just give me her. You're feeling stressed? Give me her, he said. I've been trying to get her for 6 years. You've been ducking me. You told me I was too family-oriented. That's why you ain't giving my daughter. Been tried, then talking to CPS numerous occasions. He said, here is an adorable little picture of Mila. My goodness. And then, he says that he provided his DNA. And at this point, he didn't know that it was her. So, let's see. We both was in a position where we couldn't get her because the mother always left. He said she was always leaving. I don't know how long she's been gone, how long she's been dead. I don't know how long she's been missing, but it could have been prevented, he said. The man said he was told he was only used for child support and felt iced out. He said he tried to apply for custody, but his requests were denied, and CPS would not get involved because the girls had a home and a bed. The last time he saw Mila was 4 years ago, it says. Okay, moving forward in time. This from Cleveland.com, Olivia Mitchell writing here. $2 million bond for mom accused of killing Cleveland daughters found in suitcases, Dateline Cleveland. A Cleveland municipal court, this is from the 6th, so about a week ago. A Cleveland municipal court judge set bond at $2 million Friday for a 28-year-old woman accused of killing her 2 daughters and disposing of their bodies in suitcases. Aliyah Henderson of Cleveland is charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder in connection with the deaths of her daughters, Amor Wilson and Mila Chatman. Henderson has no record of violence, no criminal history, but the judge who granted the bond said he was concerned about the safety of the community. The case unfolded over several days this week, and then it continues to tell all the details that we have seen so far. But yeah, she was given a $2 million bond, which I think is $1 million for each child. And then on the 10th, so 2 days ago, Cleveland 19 reporter Brittany Weir wrote, all relatives of 2 girls found in suitcases in Cleveland being investigated, court records show. I think this is a positive thing. Court records obtained by 19 News show police are investigating, quote, all relatives in the case of the woman accused of killing her 2 young daughters and hiding their bodies in suitcases. According to the Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court, the investigation includes the father of Henderson's 3rd child, who was found safe inside the home when Henderson was arrested. New court documents show the child is 6 years old and is now in the care of Children and Family Services. 19 News is not naming the father because he has not been charged. Court records also list him as a person of interest in the deaths. Oh, I'm wondering about this. See, in Venango County, Pennsylvania, about 2 years ago-ish, I can't remember, in Oil City, there was a case of a little toddler boy who was found dead, stuffed into a bag in a basement of kind of a trap house. It wasn't technically a trap house, but it was a rough house. And both the mother of that little boy and her boyfriend were arrested in the murder. The mother pleaded and testified against her boyfriend, and her testimony was that she was severely physically abused by him and that her boys were too. He was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And she got a plea deal, but she also is in prison, right? And I'm wondering in this case, if the father of the 6-year-old is being named a person of interest, are we going to see an arrest? This is just me thinking out loud here. Are we going to see an arrest and a charge against him for the murder as well? And are we going to find out that this was an abusive household? Yeah, I'm wondering. Well, maybe the next paragraph, Gavin, would enlighten you. They also show he has a history of DV. Because of that, the 6-year-old has been placed into emergency care. If he has a history of DV, why weren't the children? If he has a history of DV, why wasn't Mila placed with her father and the other 2 children placed elsewhere with a bed? What? The father had not had contact with the child since they were 6 months old. He denies any allegations of abuse. The community has been mourning 10-year-old Amor Wilson and 8-year-old Mila Chatman. 19 News spoke to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, which confirmed both girls were enrolled in CMSD for a few months in 2022. Oh, they haven't been in school either. Here's the statement they sent. Amor Wilson and Mila Chatman were briefly enrolled in CMSD between August and November 2022. On November 4th of 22, both girls were withdrawn from CMSD and transferred to Ohio Distance and Learning Academy. We extend our heartfelt condolences to the entire community on the loss of Amor and Mila. The Ohio Distance and Electronic Learning Academy is a tuition-free online public school. And by the way, like my son-in-law, our son-in-law, is a graduate of an online school. It worked out really well for him. He, I don't need to talk too much about it, but it worked really, really well for him. But also, man, it sure does seem to be a tool of people wanting to abuse their children to unenroll them from in-person school and enroll them in a school where nobody sees them. It is not known who withdrew the girls from school. 19 News reached out to the academy for comment but did not hear back on Tuesday. On Wednesday, a representative for Ohio Distance and Electronic Learning Academy got back to 19 News and said they do not have records for Wilson and Chatman. They sent us the following statement. We were deeply saddened to learn about this tragic situation, and our thoughts are with everyone impacted. After reviewing our records, we can confirm that the students you referenced were not enrolled at the Ohio Distance and Electronic Learning Academy. Because of federal student privacy laws, schools are limited in what information we can share regarding student records. However, in this case, we can clarify that these students did not attend OHDELA. By the way, whoever the editor is on this did not do the quotes correctly, but it's okay. We're going to move past that. So that answers that question. So the public school was told that they're being enrolled in the online school, and then they were never enrolled in the online school, it appears. Okay, and then the last article that I have for you, and I know we're running a little bit long, but this one from yesterday. From Cleveland.com, written by Olivia Mitchell. Headline, Defense Dispute Unfolds Over Cleveland Mom Accused of Killing Daughters. Dateline Cleveland. A dispute over who should represent a Cleveland woman accused of killing her 2 young daughters played out in court Wednesday as prosecutors and the public defender's office clashed over defense representation. Okay. Yeah, we know that part. She's in jail on $2 million bond. Okay. Wednesday's hearing centered on whether the Cuyahoga County Public Defender's Office should be appointed to represent Henderson. Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Judge Shannon Gallagher declined the request and instead appointed 2 private defense attorneys, citing a local court rule governing how cases are assigned. Under the rule, the public defender typically handles cases with numbers ending in odd digits, while cases ending in even numbers are assigned to private counsel. Henderson's case number ends in 6. Assistant County Prosecutor Anna Faraglia, which should actually be Faralia, but we're in the States, we pronounce that G, argued the public defender's office rarely seeks assignment in similar cases. The state of Ohio would only request that you follow the local rule, Faraglia told the court. Faraglia also accused the public defender's office of attempting to poach high-profile cases, saying the office has tried similar actions in other aggravated murder prosecutions. Well, maybe they just want the experience of defending somebody for murder. Okay. She referenced the case of Bianca Ellis, who was convicted in connection with the 2024 stabbing of 3-year-old Julian Wood inside a Giant Eagle grocery store. In that case, defense attorneys argued Ellis was not guilty by reason of insanity. Doesn't matter. Okay. Public defender, well, it matters. It just doesn't matter to what we're talking about. Public Defender Representative Ashley Stebbins disputed the poaching accusation, telling the judge the office's request was routine when it has been involved in related juvenile court matters. So they've been involved with this family before. Stebbins said the office was involved in an emergency custody case for another child connected to Henderson and believed continued representation would help maintain consistency. She explained the office sometimes seeks appointment in adult court to maintain vertical representation, where the same legal team follows a case from early proceedings through trial. This is not out of the blue for us to ask for a case, Stebbins said. Judge Gallagher said, however, that in her more than a decade on the bench, she had never been asked by an attorney to be assigned to a case in that way. Quote, treating it like any other case that I would, I'm going to assign private counsel, Gallagher ruled. Okay, so they will be continued, she will continue to be represented by private counsel. Now, there are a couple of other things that we hadn't heard before. Police spokesman Wilfredo Diaz confirmed the bodies were not dismembered. We knew before Henderson has no prior criminal record. However, on February 12th, weeks before the discovery of the bodies, a neighbor filed a stalking complaint against her with Cleveland police. Diaz said the complaint involved a potential menacing offense, which is typically a misdemeanor. Because Henderson had no criminal record, the case did not rise to the level of a felony investigation. In situations like that, Diaz said police usually advise the complainant they may seek further action through the prosecutor's office. In this instance, it does not appear the complaint advanced beyond the police department. Records related to the complaint have been requested by Cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. So a couple more little pieces of information there. And let's bring up pictures of these beautiful little ones, though the picture is years old, and see what you guys are saying over in the live chat before we move on. Let's see. A. Heineman says, in Ohio, unwed mothers automatically have full custody of children. The father has to pay to vie for custody through the courts. I wonder if either father was paying child support. I think we at least it was implied that the one father, that Mila's father, was paying child support. Yeah, Danny, I'm with you. This is so sad. My heart breaks for the father of the two girls. 100%. 100%. Teresa says, yeah, the system is broken. It is. It's really, really hard. Lynn Taylor says, Gavin, they hate to split up families, don't have enough help to investigate these situations either most times. Yeah, I am familiar, and again, this is a story that I'm going to be very vague on because it's not my story really to tell, so I'm going to be very vague, but I'm familiar with a family who fostered and then adopted multiple children, all of whom were half-siblings, from one particular mom. This was in Pennsylvania. And how hard it was to go through that process, because each time that mom had another baby and, Child and Protective Services got, Children and Youth Services got involved, they'd always go to next of kin first, right? They just kept going to next of kin because they don't want to separate family, but it becomes so extreme that in that case, they're now one big, beautiful, happy family. It's beautiful. But you're right. Yeah, they don't like to split up families. They like to go with next of kin. And oh my goodness, does it take a certain kind of person to work in CYS, CPS, whatever it is in the state that you're in. Robin says it's not illegal to be a crappy parent. That is true. If there's not proof or evidence to take the child from a parent, then their hands are tied. It isn't good, but it's the reality. And, and we kind of have to balance we have to balance. There's so much to balance, right? I don't want to give Child Protective Services too much power. But we learned in, which case was it? Rebecca Baptiste, right? Remember this little one? You know, sometimes we just really, like, I understand the desire to give Child Protective Services and Children of Youth Services more power sometimes, because we have cases like Rebecca Baptiste. We have cases like Amor and Mila. It's tough. Beth also adds, probably not enough foster parents either. Yeah, and that's another tough thing. Kimberly and I, we have a home with room for more people. We have the desire to help more people, but as we've talked about it, we've also wanted to protect our kiddos from being exposed to kind of the darker side of things that happen in this world. And there have been a couple times where we've had the care of several kids on the short term, and just the drama and just I guess the recognition of what else is out there in the world for our little kids was too much for us to take. It takes a very special family to foster, man. Robin adds, my husband, he's a teacher, said the increase in child CA, we'll call it, rose significantly during COVID and homeschooling. It has created better checks and balances to identify abuse in homeschooled children. I'm glad to hear that. Well, guys, let's keep our eye on this case. I'm very curious what we're going to find out about the father of the third child. I fear that it's going to be like the one that I told you about in Venango County, that there was CA involved in the whole thing. Wanda, we need a little transition music. Do you have one that's maybe, can you sing for us? All right, let's hear it. Ooh, Wanda. Yeah. Wanda, wow. You know what? I can feel it, Wanda. Crying out loud. You've got a beautiful, youthful voice. That was amazing. Amazing. Indie Girl says, my oldest daughter has fostered 7 drug-exposed baby and has adopted everyone. They are precious blessings. Well, bless her, and they are. Thank you for sharing that with us. Guys, let's move on to our next segment, shall we? We've been at it for, yeah, Wanda does rock, Lynn Taylor. What a great comment. Let's move on to 3 questions.
It's 3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Okay, in this segment, guys, we basically I answer 3 of your questions. I answer them to the best of my ability. And I really love the questions where they're questions to me, but they could be questions to everyone. So some of these are that. I think all of these are that tonight. So in the comments and in the live chat, tell me your answers to these questions. And thank you to the 3 or 4 of you who sent in more. I was running low. I was running really low. So here's the deal. You can send them into 3questions@gavinfish.com. I did get one that was like, hey, testing to make sure this is the email address. Yes, it is the email address, 3questions@gavinfish.com. 3questions@gavinfish.com. It is spelled out THREE, questions@gavinfish.com. I will answer the questions truthfully, to the best of my knowledge, to the best of my ability. Nothing is off the table, which means, of course, that everything is on the table. And the caveat, though, is that I will do them 3 at a time, and I will do them in the order in which I see fit, because some questions I really like, and I want to put them to the front of the line. I don't know. I'm a benevolent question dictator. That's what I am. All right, guys. Question number 1 came in from Suzanne. And the question is, what was your favorite cartoon when you were little? Well, I was born in 1975, October the 3rd. And I think the cartoons that I liked the best were those quintessentially 80s cartoons. Of course, I watched a lot of Warner Brothers stuff, right? A lot of Looney Tunes. But the ones that I remember being the ones that I loved the most were like Voltron, He-Man, Mask, G.I. Joe. Those were my favorite. Now, when I became a teenager, in fact, when I became a teenager, in the afternoon, there was a cartoon that came on that was so good that even as like a senior in high school, I would stop and I would watch this cartoon. Of course, this is before DVRs and stuff. So I would get home from school and I would watch this cartoon before I did anything. And I happened to find these toys while I was at my parents' place in a box. Let me bring them all up here so you guys can see them. Let's make a little zoomy zoom. We got Pinky and the Brain. We got Good Feathers here. I can't remember the names on this one, but this was Animaniacs. This probably became my favorite cartoon of all time. I loved Good Feathers, but Pinky and the Brain were the best. And I believe that these toys came from probably McDonald's. It's probably in a Happy Meal or something. Though it doesn't say McDonald's anywhere on it. In a Happy Meal or, I don't know, Burger King or something like that. But these were in a box in my parents' garage, and I grabbed them because I had such fond memories. So my favorite cartoon out of all of them has to be Animaniacs, but those kind of like battle cartoons. Robotech, especially Macross City. I loved that. Yeah, tell me what your favorite cartoons were when you were a kiddo. Question number 2. Favorite Disney movie? Oh my, these are great questions. You guys tell me your favorite Disney movie. This is from Kelly. Favorite Disney movie? My favorite Disney movie now or growing up? I don't, Well, there was one that I really loved growing up. It's a Fred MacMurray movie. Always loved Fred MacMurray. And it was called Follow Me, Boys. And it was the tale of Lem Siddons, who came to town as a musician and decided, I'm staying in this town. I want to be a lawyer someday. And he puts down roots. And part of those roots are he established a Boy Scouts troop. Now, I don't know why I love this so much, because I didn't love the Boy Scouts when my parents made me do it. But I loved the movie. It's called Follow Me, Boys. Vera Miles was in it. A young Kurt Russell was in that movie. Great movie to this day. Now, my favorite Disney movie as an old codger, it's still an old movie. It's still Fred MacMurray, actually, and it is The Happiest Millionaire. I love The Happiest Millionaire. It's kind of put on like a stage show. He breaks the fourth wall quite a bit. And it's got, what was his name? Was his name Tommy Tomlinson? It's got Leslie Ann Warren. It's got John Davidson. It's got, I'm blanking on her name right now. I'm blanking on her name, but, Greer Garson. So it's got Greer Garson. And then there are 2 others that are just actresses of Broadway fame. And it's a musical, and it's terrific. So good. So those are my favorite. You guys tell me your favorite Disney movies. I am partial, by the way, to The Little Mermaid, which came out when I was a freshman in high school. It was just cool to have animated movies back in the theater. It was a lot of fun. Okay, last question. Oh no, let's see. I had started on the second question. The last question is, do you have an internal voice? Like, do I have an internal monologue? Yeah, I do. I definitely do. I think that's normal. Do all of us have internal monologues? I monologue to myself all the time. I have conversations. I have dialogues with myself all the time. My internal voice is my voice as I hear it. It's not the same voice that you hear because of the whole head transfer function and all that stuff. But yeah, I do have an internal voice. So you guys tell me in the chat, do you have an internal voice? What was your favorite cartoon when you were little? And what is your favorite Disney movie? And while you are working on that, let's move on over, shall we, to headlines.
True crime headlines.
Okie the dokie. A lot of things happening in the world of true crime today, guys. Number one, maybe a bit of a surprise. I mean, it took me by surprise. The defense in the Cory Richens trial just decided not to call any witnesses, including Cory Richens. Now, I think it's wise to not call Cory, but wise not to call witnesses? This one, okay, so this is written by Emily Ashcraft from KSL. Headline, testimony concludes in Cory Richens' murder trial as defense opts not to call witnesses. Dateline, Park City. No more witnesses will be called in the Park City murder trial for Cory Richens, a Camas mother accused of fatally poisoning her husband. I think technically she's a Francis mother, but that's okay. Prosecutors rested their case shortly before a lunch break on Thursday, this very day, today. And Richens' attorney then moved for a ruling that there was insufficient evidence for a reasonable jury to convict Richens. This is standard, right? In fact, they say in the story, a standard motion made in many trials after the prosecution presents its evidence, the judge denied the motion for a directed verdict. After the break, defense attorneys announced that they will not call any witnesses. Cory Richens formally waived her right to testify. Jurors were instructed to return Monday morning to hear closing arguments and instructions before beginning deliberations. Let's see. The lead detective in the case wrapped up testimony for the prosecution Thursday morning. A witness and prosecutors earlier told jurors that some memes were accessed on Richens' phone on the morning that her husband died, including one with Donald Trump saying, "I'm really rich," one with a man that said, "Idiots, idiots everywhere," and another with a woman using money to wipe her eyes. Wow. Whew. An investigator who previously reviewed her phone testified that he couldn't say who had sent those memes or whether Richens herself had viewed them that morning on her phone, but the images had been viewed on her phone at 8:29 a.m. that day. So, yeah. So the question is, what the defense is banking on is that jurors will go, they didn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she killed her husband. And in closing arguments, I'm sure that's what the argument is going to be. Yes, Eric Richens is dead. Yes, he died from fentanyl poisoning. Yes, he obviously ingested it, but who gave it to him? Nobody saw my client do it. There's no evidence linking her to it. That's what their argument is going to be. Now, I noticed that Pat Burt Long over in the fish tank was making this very argument. It was really good. If you guys aren't on the fish tank, shout out to Pat Long Burt. I always do that, Burt Long. Pat Long Burt, who said, after all the sidebars, interruptions, objections, and just plain rudeness, the defense said they had a couple of choices for witnesses today, and then out of nowhere, the defense rested. You can bet they're throwing in the towel because they totally believe they have enough to appeal and win that appeal and either get Cory acquitted or at the least a new trial. So I think that's an interesting take. I think Pat has her finger on the pulse. Yeah, so I agree that is probably what's happening. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Headline number 2. This is tangential to this is tangential. We're gonna go on a tangent. This written by Emily Crane in the New York Post. Key reason FBI agent Oh, wait a minute. This is the wrong one. I have opened the wrong one. Give me a second. Give me a moment. There we go. Let's grab this one. Okay. Lead investigator in Nancy Guthrie case, Sheriff Chris Nanos, forced to explain fudged resume, leaving first policing job in disgrace, written by Alex Oliveira for the New York Post. Again, tangential, right? But I thought I'd bring it up. The Arizona sheriff leading the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance resigned from his very first policing job to avoid being fired over embarrassing blunders and posted a resume online that fudged the dates of his employment. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos stepped down from the El Paso Police Department in 1982 after racking up a laundry list of infractions, ranging from excessive force to off-duty gambling to improperly using his siren and simple tardiness, the Arizona Republic reported. Those missteps, including an allegation that he kicked a suspect in the head so badly they were hospitalized, landed Nanos with 37 days of unpaid leave in the early 80s and resulted in him finally being told to either step down or get canned, according to the outlet. He took the resignation option, but messed up the dates in his publicly posted resume, which stated that he remained with the El Paso department until 1984, 2 years longer than he was there, the local paper reported. The sheriff's office acknowledged the inaccuracy, calling it another misdate clerical errors that had been corrected, but Nanos himself bristled and brushed it off when pressed. "That's your urgent request?" This is a quote. "You sure you don't want to go back to my high school and ask why I got swats from the principal? Good luck with your hit piece," he told the Republic. So I'm not going to continue the rest of the story, but yeah, for those in the I don't like Chris Nanos camp, and I'm not in either camp. I don't love him. I don't hate him. I don't care. I think that there are problems. I think there are problems with the investigation there, but yeah, there's a little more ammo. And then lastly, for headlines, this is actually a pretty long piece from CNN. We're not going to read the whole thing. This is written by Allison Gordon, Thomas Bordeaux, Kyun La, and Scott Glover. CNN investigation: missing teenager repeatedly appeared in David's orbit before her body was found. And I'm glad that this is being kept in the public's attention. We know that he is a person of interest. His family has been called to the grand jury. They tried to get out of it, but I'm glad that they're officially putting it out there. Dateline is Los Angeles. In the summer of 2024, a budding musical sensation known to his legion of mostly young fans as David, D4VD, posted on social media that he was experiencing a case of writer's block. Quote, "I'm in a song crisis right now," the entertainer, then 19, lamented on Discord. Within minutes, one of his followers on the popular platform offered an oddly specific suggestion. "Drop the one with the missing girl Celeste Rivas Hernandez," the anonymous user wrote, referring to a 13-year-old runaway whose face was plastered on missing person posters at the time. The message went unaddressed by the singer, whose full name is David Anthony Burke, but the cryptic, seemingly taunting post has since emerged as an intriguing nugget in connection with a grand jury investigation in which prosecutors have deemed Burke a target. That's because about a year after the post mentioning Rivas, her dismembered and decomposed body was discovered in the trunk of Burke's Tesla, which we all know. Following the grisly discovery, in September, Burke canceled his world tour. Authorities have been tight-lipped. Interest in the case, meanwhile, has exploded on the internet. And then a CNN investigation based on an extensive review of social media postings, both by and about Burke, as well as more than a dozen interviews, found that Rivas repeatedly appeared in Burke's orbit before and after she was reported missing for the first time in February of 2024. There's a link to this article in the description below. I suggest that you read it because it is a very good, in-depth investigative piece. So check it out. I'm going to stop it there. But check it out. The link is in the description. And I am keeping a very close eye. I'm searching every day for news about the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. And I'm hoping that we will find out soon. Those are your headlines.
True crime headlines.
Okie dokie. Let's go to a couple more comments before we call it a night. A. Heineman says, Gavin, as a school psych in Ohio, I've had to report more than once a foster parents for, let's say, CA. I've seen roadside advertisements for foster parents, low bar, sadly. Yeah. Oh, wow. Tough. Wanda does rock. Wanda is the best. Barb says, my favorite cartoon is the Flintstones. Lynn says, Speed Racer. Yeah, that's a good one. Let's see. My favorite cartoon, says Miss Chivo's Dragon, was also Speed Racer. Awesome. Speed Racer was a little before my time, but my older sister and brothers loved it. Fourth Opinion also was all about Speed Racer. Archangel says Pinky and the Brain was great. Yeah, they got their own show eventually that was just Pinky and the Brain, but it wasn't as good as their segment on Animaniacs. Robin says, I loved the non-politically correct episodes of Warner Brothers cartoons. Yes, indeed. Animaniacs was rad. Scooby-Doo. Yeah, I liked Scooby-Doo too. Not as much as the shoot 'em up ones. Barb says, best Disney movie or favorite Disney movie is Mary Poppins. That is a great one. Faux show. Academy Award winner. Autumn loved Thumbelina, and Teresa loved Yogi Bear. So you were a fan of the Hanna-Barbera offerings. Same thing with Flintstones, right? Garth B. Nutt. Danny Hull says Flintstones and Scooby-Doo. Robin, yes, Yogi Bear and Boo Boo too. Barb says, I have the Happiest Millionaire record. Loved that movie. Jules and me loved the Smurfs and Looney Tunes. Let's see. Favorite Disney movie, Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. Jenny says, my daughter just performed in The Little Mermaid for her high school musical. That's awesome. That is awesome. Barb says, Fred McMurray made a lot of Disney movies when I was growing up. I was born in 1961. Yeah. Let's see. Danny says, Gavin, you're making me feel old. My granddaughter loved Ariel. Lynn Taylor says, Monsters, Inc. That is a great one. That is a great one. Beth Pepper is my favorite movie, Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeves. That is a terrific movie, and that is the movie that introduced me to Rachmaninoff. I love that movie. I love Jane Seymour. I love Christopher Plummer. That is a terrific movie. And Christopher Reeve was amazing in it. It's not Disney, she continues, but I love that movie. I guess my favorite Disney movie would be The Lion King. Not sure if Avatar is a Disney flick. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is, right? No, Avatar. I don't think it is. Anyway, Strong Little Mama, The Smurfs, Lady and the Tramp, Hamilton. I do have an inner dialogue, and lately it's been reminding me how many days before spring break I teach 7th grade language arts. Awesome. Jules and me, I'm before Disney, really. Scary movies, Friday the 13th, I Spit on Your Grave, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Pumpkinhead, Last House on the Left, Nightmare on Elm Street. To this day, I have not seen Nightmare on Elm Street. I went to school on Elm Street in Orangevale, California. Yeah, I did. I'm second guessing myself. It was Louis Pasteur Middle School, and it was on Elm Street. And the whole idea just scared me. I did not watch it. I'm not gonna do it. Ohio Pom Mom, not a cartoon, but I remember watching Johnny Sacco and his flying robot. Yeah. Natalie, getting us back on track. I'm confused how there wouldn't have been evidence of neglect. Wouldn't CPS ask for proof of school attendance and see they weren't enrolled for years? You'd think so. Tough. Spain is in the house. Thanks for being here. Beth says, I love Jaws, Grease, Somewhere in Time, Dirty Dancing. My grandson says Avatar is through Nickelodeon. Well, yeah, that Avatar. Avatar is terrific. Oh my, and it is a Nickelodeon joint and one of the best cartoons ever made. What's the follow-up on it? I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's also very good. Was it Korra? The Legend of Korra? Oh, they're so good. So good. Thanks, guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I deeply appreciate you. I so appreciate those of you who are supporting my work. If you're interested in doing that, you can go to my website and click on the Support Me tab, and that will take you to all the ways that you can support me. I really appreciate the tips, the PayPals. Thank you so much for joining to become a patron and becoming a member on the channel. I deeply appreciate each one of you. Please remember that we hang out in the fish tank on Facebook. If Facebook is your thing, you are cordially invited. There's never any pressure with me. There's just an open invitation. We will be back to finish out our week tomorrow, 6:00 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on this very channel. I hope to see you there. And until then, I bid you adieu. And I ask you, please, to take care of yourselves. Good night. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.